it's Cassie, and today is seed starting day for the fall garden. Um, I typically only start broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, and collard greens inside. Lettuce, carrots. I've never successfully grown carrots though, so um, celery, kale, spinach, things like bok choy. I'll direct sow them into the garden. I don't necessarily start them inside because most of them have a very short growing season. So, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts, if you're going to grow those. I'm not growing Brussels sprouts. I've been growing them for 3 years. They never get super big, and we only eat them a few times a year. So, I don't feel like the amount of space that they take up in my garden is necessarily worth it. Other things that I will grow in the fall garden are onions and garlic. Of course, I order those as starts or the garlic cloves. The garlic cloves I order from Keen Garlic, and the starts I will be ordering from Dixondale this year. Last year I had to order somewhere else, and they just were not as successful as the ones that I get at Dixondale, so I will be ordering those from Dixondale as soon as they are available. Remember, I am zone 8B/9A Florida, so we have multiple growing seasons, but specifically for me, two gardening seasons. We have spring, which is where we grow our warm season crops, and then we have the fall growing season, which actually is my favorite. So it's the fall winter growing season, and it's when we grow all of our cool crops here in Florida. And I like it because it's not as hot outside. I don't have to go outside and water every day. I actually probably water like the entire garden several times. I really don't even water it at all. And then our pest pressure seems to be way less. I'm not going to say it's non-existent because then, that's like jinxing myself. But the pest pressure seems to be really down in the fall and winter as well. So it's my favorite time to grow. You'll hear a lot of people say that they don't like it. Fall gardening to me is kind of a plan it and forget it. I very rarely fertilize it as well because I've built up my nitrogen, which brings me to another thing. I plant a cover crop in the fall, which seems to be like a huge debate in the gardening groups right now, is that we should plant our cover crops in Florida in the summer and not in the fall, but I plant mine in the fall and the winter. So once I get my seeds going and my starts are, like 6 inches and ready to go out into the garden, I go out and I spread clover seed all over the garden. Then the temperatures are usually starting to cool off enough that the clover will actually sprout. So I plant the clover, and the clover grows right along with my fall and my winter crops. And then in the spring, I go ahead and plant my starts into the clover. I never till my raised beds, so I'll go ahead and plant in the spring as well my starts into that. And then in the summer, as it starts to get hot and the temperatures get really high, that clover naturally dies back. It goes from a living mulch to a actual mulch, and the roots and the plants that have died back help to hold in the moisture for the rest of the summer when it is so hot here that it is hard to keep the moisture into the ground. So I forgot my seeds inside, so I'm going to run inside and get those real quick, and then I will come right back out and we will get our seeds started. Okay, so I went and got my seeds. So one of the first things that I do is I go ahead and I wet my seed starting mix. I am struggling to find seed starting mix. If you were watching along when I started seeds for the garden tower, I struggled to find seed starting mix in the late summer, and it is non-existent in the fall as well. So I only have this little bit left. I typically don't buy Miracle Grow products, but when it's all you can find, it's all you can find. So I ordered some Espoma online, and it's shipping here, but it is shipping insanely slow. And I want to go ahead and get these started. I think that I have enough to fill 2 of these grow trays, which is all I should need for my fall garden for seed starting. But just in case I don't, I have more on the way. Like I said, I don't typically use Miracle Grow. I like the organic Espoma, and I like ProMix brand. ProMix is my favorite. It's what I use in the spring. And I can typically find it at Tractor Supply in the spring, but I cannot find it any other time of year. So we're settling for what we could find this time. I just use a bucket and I will dump my soil in there. It just makes it easier to mix because you're going to want to pre-moisten your soil. I'm just going to go ahead and mix it all. And then I went ahead and got some warm water from inside. I love this little container. My great-grandma cleaned out her jars a few months ago, or she's starting to clean out her jars. So every time I go over to her house, she sends me home with a basket full of canning jars. And this is one of the things that was in it. I don't know maybe if it was milk or juice or what was in it, but I still think it's really cool. And it makes a really good water container. You don't want to make your seed starting mix super wet. You want it just wet enough that it sticks together nicely. And then I'll kind of show you how you want it to clump together so that you know that it's moist enough but not too moist. I always put on these long denim shirts, and if you don't have any, they're from the men's section. Wrangler brand from Tractor Supply. They're not super expensive, but I have a habit of like wiping my hands on my clothes. You can ask my husband when I'm cooking, I do the same thing. So these denim shirts keep me from ruining all my clothes. I have the gardening overalls from Duluth, and I love them as well, but they're kind of hot for the summer here, so I like these denim shirts just for starting seeds because I can take them on and off. And then I use the Duluth in like the fall and the spring and the winter. Even the short ones feel hot to me. Okay, so you just want your soil moist enough that when you squeeze it, a little bit of moisture comes out, but it clumps nice together and doesn't fall apart in your hand. And this is what I'm talking about when I say I wipe my hands on my clothes. Because now I gotta go in my seed container that now has dirt all over it and find my seeds. So this is my fall seed container, so it has all of my fall seeds for starting my garden. And today we're just gonna start cauliflower, broccoli, collards, and cabbage. I'm not going to grow Brussels sprouts this year. Peas I will direct sow. Kale I'll direct sow. Spinach I'll direct sow. Swiss chard is a direct sow. I don't grow many radishes because you eat like one radish on a salad because it's a ton, and you might eat that once a week. Like radishes are super prolific and easy to grow. Like if you're looking for something that's easy to grow, you just scatter the seeds and you end up with hundreds of radishes. Did that one year, never again. Lettuce I'll direct sow as well, but I have to wait to grow lettuce, carrots, celery, and kale and spinach when it is cooler outside. So I probably won't start those till November or December because our cool season temperatures just aren't consistent until those times of year. And yeah, like I said, carrots are like, can't grow a carrot to save my life. No idea why. I've tried the cardboard method, the wood board method. I did see somebody though start them in seed trays the other day, and they carefully transplanted them. So if I fail this year, that might be what I try next year. I bought pelleted carrot seeds this year to see if maybe that'll help me. Like maybe I'm just wetting them and making them run off. I have no idea what and I also bought seed tape. Hoss had seed tape, and so I thought like maybe that's my issue. I'm not sure what my issue is. I just can't grow carrot. I only plan on planting my raised bed garden for the fall. I do have like those tomatoes that popped up that I transplanted, and I plan on only planting my raised beds for the fall. I am solarizing my in-ground garden just in case I decide to overdo it and need somewhere else to put stuff. But for now, I'm planning on just planting my raised beds. I also need 2 more raised beds for like in December when I plant onions and garlic. So if my husband, because I have to rely on him because I don't use a saw. It's the only thing that I won't use as a saw. My family has a thing for like losing fingers. So I'm going to do what I can to prevent being one of them and join in the club. So my husband has helped me build those. So hopefully they're ready for when I have onions and garlic, and yeah. But if not, I have the in-ground garden and I can always plant them there as well. And then potatoes. Potatoes are what I also still consider a winter crop because we plant them here in Florida in winter. I started them the 1st of February last year, and that seemed to really work out, and I'm going to do that again as well. And I'm going to double the amount that I grew. I grew them in hampers, laundry hampers. Ask TikTok how much they criticized me, but I did it and it worked, and that's what I'm going to do again because we seem to have a really wet spring here lately, and in the ground they get all kinds of diseases, and the laundry hampers drained very well and it worked great. I got really nice size, like new potato sizes, which is the size that we like because we boil them and then eat them with a white sauce. So, like I said, I have ADHD, just in case y'all can't tell, and so I get lost and then I come back. So hopefully y'all can follow along. I've realized that a lot of people who garden have ADHD. I don't know. Like, I like it because I can constantly work on something else and my brain is constantly moving from one thing to the next, and so I think it keeps my busy brain busy. But then I've heard people say that they can't do it because they can't focus. I don't know. But like I said, I've seen a lot of homesteaders who have ADHD. So let's get these seeds started. Let me show y'all how I have my grow lights set up for the spring. For the fall, if you follow me for the spring, you know that I turn like this whole entire back porch into a greenhouse and have tons of shelves with tons of grow lights. But for the fall, I don't need it because, everything will get started in these trays. No like big, like in the spring, I start a lot in these cups. But for the fall, I start everything in these seed trays. And so I only need one of my shelves, and it needs to be in a cooler space. So I have a freezer room off of this porch, and it is where I have my grow light set up. So let me show you that really quick before we start our seeds. So this is just some crazy room that's built off the back of our porch, and it has air conditioning in it. So I just have this little rack set up. It is a Barina, and it works great. My seed trays fit perfectly on here with their domes and the lights. When you buy your grow lights, one of the things that a lot of people say is, oh my gosh, your grow lights seem to be like 2 inches above your trays. Make sure to read about your grow lights because these grow lights actually need to be up top or they will burn your plants that close to them. The type of grow lights that they are, they're made to be higher than the ones that need to be lowered to your plants. So just read about your grow lights. That's one thing that a lot of people don't know. Not all grow lights are made the same, and not all of them need to be like 2 inches above your plants. So this is my seed starting rack for this year. I think I'm only going to need like 2 to 3 trays. So this one is perfect, and it fits right in here where it's nice and cool. So then when the temps start dropping down into the 70s, I can just transplant them from here out into the garden. That is like the tiniest room, and I don't ever realize how tiny it is until I go to take a video of the room, and there's no way for me to take a good video of that room. So let's go ahead and start our seeds. I'm just going to use these. I can't ever remember what they are. These are the 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 5 by 8 seed trays. I get them off Amazon. They work great for me. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th year I have used them. The only issue I had is I did burn one, but that's back when I was using the strip lights that are like shop lights instead of grow lights, and I think they just got too hot and melted the plastic. So make sure your lights aren't going to get too hot and melt your plastic. I did order some more because these are getting older. So, and then I'll just need 2 domes. This is the water catching part. Sounds good, right? Ah, there's a frog. Please don't touch me. We can coexist. Just please don't touch me. Okay. So you have your seed starting soil, your seed trays, and your seeds. And now it's time to start our seeds. So I'm just going to put 1 seed in each cell. If they don't all germinate, it's okay. Because I'm going to start way more than I probably actually have room for. The one thing that I don't know, I guess I should go through like the varieties that I'm planting with you guys. Cabbage, I will be doing the Golden Acre, and I'm going to do a couple Red Acre cabbage, and then Bronco F1s. Those are the type. And then I have some Copenhagen. I might end up growing a few Copenhagen as well. And so I'm going to, like I said, Golden Acre, Red Acre, Bronco F1, and then some Copenhagen. Those are going to be the cabbages that I start this year. Collard greens, I always grow the Champion and the Georgia collard greens. Broccoli, I am growing the DeSico, Waltham 29, and then I want to grow this Chinese broccoli. What I have to research. This is 55 days to maturity, so I think if I direct sow this in the garden like I do the celery and the carrots, I think that will be sufficient enough. I don't think that I need to start this one inside, because 55 days to maturity, that would be way before the cool season starts here. It's okay to put your seed starts out when it's still a little bit warm, but you don't really want them maturing when it's not cool outside, because a lot of things can get like a bitter taste. So I think I'm going to wait and just direct sow those directly into the garden. And then I have cauliflower, which I will be growing the graffiti cauliflower, which is a purple cauliflower. I'm not going to start very many of these. Never eaten purple cauliflower, so I'm not going to start very many of these. Just until we make sure if we like them. Then next year I can ramp up. And then I did the Veronica. This is the green, the Romanesco. It's the green one that's got like the points all on it. Again, I'm only going to start like 4 or 5 plants of those as well, because I'm just not sure. How did a tomatillo seed pack get in here? Anyway, I'm just not sure if we're going to like those or not. So again, and then I'm going to go the Snowball Improved Cauliflower, which is your traditional white cauliflower. So I'm going to move the camera so that y'all can see my hands work and not so much of me. So I will come back when I'm done and show y'all how I put them in the greenhouse and keep them watered. So now I'm just filling up a spray bottle with some water, because the humidity dome's purpose is to hold in the humidity until the seeds sprout. Once the seeds sprout, I go ahead and remove the humidity dome so that I don't get any damage from them being too moist. I close the holes on the humidity domes until they begin to sprout, and then I will open them up. I usually let them get about an inch tall because that gives all of them time to sprout, and then that's when I remove the humidity dome. So I just take and I spray some humidity into these. Now every few days you're going to have to come in and pour some water under here to water them, but you don't want, once they sprout, to keep them too moist or you will run into dampening off, which is essentially they've just been too wet, so they die off right at the top of the dirt. Again, just closing my holes and misting some humidity into the seeds. Our soil was already pretty moist from starting them, so I'm actually not going to water them today, and I'll wait a few days to give them a good bottom watering. These will only stay in these cells for about 5 to 6 weeks because then it will be cool enough here that I can transplant them outside. I usually try and transplant like middle of September, late September. This year I'm aiming for the end of September just because it's been so wet and hot this year. I figured I would wait a little bit longer. So now that I've got those all dampened and planted and they're in their humidity domes, it's time to move them to our grow lights. So let me set the camera up over there, hopefully I can, and I will show you me setting them up under the grow lights. This set of shelves fits these trays perfectly. This came as a kit, like I said, off of Amazon. It's from Barina, and I can link it below. It has a timer where you can set the lights to run every 3, 6, or 12 hours. So I just go ahead and set it to 12 hours. And it also has where you can dim or brighten up the lights, and I just always have them set on the highest setting. So these will sit here until they sprout. I'll kind of take y'all along with that. I might have to post it like in one big long video as we get toward the end so that I'm not posting like little 2-minute long videos just showing you the seed starts. But if you have any questions, of course, ask. Again, I am Florida, Zone 8. It's the old Zone 8B, new 9A. I still kind of go off of the old 8B because I think our temps, we still drop down and we get good frost here. But let me know if you have any questions. I'm always glad to help. Of course, I don't know everything, but I have been gardening for about 8 years in this zone. So let me know if you have questions.